Good morning to everyone who's joining. Welcome to Revolutionize Your Fundraising Strategy with proven success steps for successful campaigns. We're going to be starting at 2 o'clock. So in the meantime, the chat box is open. So go ahead and submit your questions. Let us know where you're coming from. If you have any questions for Amanda or Chris, you can enter them into the Q&A box or the chat box, and we'll make sure we get to those. But say hello and let us know where you're joining from. We're happy to be here with you today.
I don't know yet. It's just such a tight period. Can we talk about it at 4:30?
Well, we have people joining from everywhere. We have people from Florida, Minnesota, Tennessee, New York, New Jersey. Thank you all for being here. We're going to get started shortly. If you're just now joining us, make sure you comment where you're joining us from. Say hello in the chat box. We're excited to be here with you today. We're going to get started in a couple more minutes. This session is being recorded, and you're going to receive a copy of the PowerPoint and as well as a recorded session. So no need to take notes. You'll be getting this after the webinar. Welcome, everyone. If you're just joining us, we still have a few more people filtering in to the webinar, so I want to make sure everybody gets in. But if you are joining now, make sure you type where you're joining us from, your organization, your name, into the chat box, anything you're excited to learn about today about campaigns or campaign management, and we'll be getting started shortly. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone today to revolutionize your fundraising strategy with proven success steps for successful campaigns. I'm going to go ahead and walk us through our agenda for today. So we're going to begin with some welcome and introductions. I'm going to introduce you to our two panelists here in a moment. And then we want to hear from you. This is an interactive webinar, so make sure you're submitting your questions in the chat box and in the question section. Right down in the bottom of your Zoom. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me good. Everyone's seeing my screen. If at any time there's any technical difficulties, just put them in the chat box, but you should be good to go. Then we're going to go into building a campaign success story, Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Salt Lake. And then we're going to go into some tips for building highly successful campaigns and some proven success steps. And then we're going to talk about leveraging the right partner for your campaign. And then we'll answer any questions and answers. We will be answering questions throughout the session, so make sure you submit them. I'm going to introduce our first panelist, Amanda Hughes. She is the president and CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Salt Lake. And she is our campaign aficionado for today. She's going to be telling us about a success story. And then we have Chris Fink, who is our Chief Operating Officer here at Arreva. And Chris is going to walk us through some strategies and some success steps for building successful campaigns. And my name is Gabriella Salemi. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager here at Arreva, and I'll be your moderator for today. Like I said, this is an interactive session. So comment what you want to know about building highly successful campaigns so Amanda and Chris can give you, their opinion and provide you with their expertise on that. Make sure you interact with us throughout the session. To start though, I'm going to launch a poll. We want to know from the audience, what keeps you up when thinking about raising money? So you should be seeing a poll on your screen. We have a few different options. So maybe it's prospecting, maybe it's board engagement. That's something that we hear a lot about here at Arreva. How do you get your board involved in fundraising towards a campaign? Maybe it's who do you ask or how much to ask for, making sure that you're making the right ask to the right person. Timing, building a successful campaign is all about timing. Maybe it's the relationships and leveraging the right relationships from who you know in your organization, who others might know, or maybe it's all of them. And that's fair that it could be all of them. I'll let a few more people, we have a few more answers coming in. Okay. These are some interesting results. I'm going to go ahead and put them up on the screen for everyone to see. So it seems like the majority of people are having issues with all of these, with board engagement kind of coming in second, and then all of these are pretty much even. So you're in the right place today because we're going to cover all of this.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Gabby. I really appreciate that introduction and the comments that are coming in the chat, and I'm super happy to be with you today. As you mentioned, my name is Amanda Hughes. I am based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, working with Boys and Girls Clubs. I've been in fundraising and nonprofit management for, since college days, so for several decades now. And have always been drawn into the fundraising and marketing and communication circles. Spent about 10 years as a director of development for the organization where I am currently with Boys and Girls Clubs. Served for 2 years with Boys and Girls Clubs of America, serving as a fundraising consultant with clubs in the Pacific and Southwest regions, and then came back about 2 years ago to my local home club to take the role as CEO. So I've had some broad experiences both with large organizations and very small one-stop shops where the CEO is the fundraiser and everything else, as well as a robust fundraising team. To give you some context, my organization, we're about an $8 million operating budget, and our individuals is an area that we are continuing to see our priorities focus on raising money from individuals to diversify our revenue streams, to really build that, dedicated group of supporters that are passionate about our mission and want to support and do something great in their community, and finding ways to connect with those people remain our top priority here. And so for the focus of today, we're going to be talking about how do you structure your campaign. I think I saw a chat in the chat box about what we're hoping to learn is about making sure donors get thanked on time and in a timely manner. And I agree 100%. Stewardship is so important. In fact, you can't build a strong campaign unless you have already done that homework and building those relationships and stewardship and thanking your donors and volunteers and board members. We could do a whole 2-hour webinar just on stewardship alone. So this is really going to focus most on how are you at the beginning phases of planning a campaign, where and kind of into the launching of it, and how we structured that here last year at our end of year campaign. And so I think for any campaign, whether that's for an event, or an individual campaign, or even corporations or foundations or public funds, you need to start by identifying your goals. How much do you want to raise? For the case that I'm going to show with you today, we set a goal for our end of year campaign of around $100,000, which is about a quarter of our total goal for individuals. And then there are a lot of things that you can measure success on that's not just the dollars raised, right? We know fundraising is a lot of steps, a lot of moves management. And so we want to be able to define those successes in other ways than just dollars raised, because it takes a lot of those moves to get to the dollars raised. So we also identify the number of donors that we want to engage with. Do we want that to increase? Even sometimes your average gift size, you can use that as a goal. Reactivating lapsed donors, acquire new donors, board participation, and you may have strategies to accomplish each one of those goals as you build your campaign. Go ahead, next slide. So I'm going to talk about how I did that and our team here at Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Salt Lake in our last year's campaign for our end of year. Everybody's prepping now for an end of year campaign, kicking off with Giving Tuesday. And moving on into the end of year giving, where we know the bulk of individuals give during that November, December time period. Go ahead. So we structured that with goals that I mentioned earlier, $100,000 from individual giving. We wanted one of those kind of non-dollar amount goals to be 100% board participation. We really wanted to see an increase in our board engagement. Not only that are they making a personal, meaningful contribution themselves, but they're participating in all steps of the campaign to ask and reach out to their contacts, their circles of influence. We set a goal. We really wanted to reactivate lapsed donors. A lot of people who gave in early 2020 in calls to the pandemic recovery and response gave fast and quick, and then we wanted to make sure we were reactivating them and engaging with that group of people as well as maybe people who were not able to give during the pandemic and who had historically given. And we really wanted to be able to utilize kind of a team fundraising component with our board or peer-to-peer campaign to help increase that board engagement. Go to the next slide. So what are some of the strategies that we put in place when we were designing our 12 Days of Hope campaign? It really lasted for a lot more than 12 days, but we kind of centered that around our public mission of 12 days in December, public messaging. So we took our committee of board members and divided them into teams. We assigned each one a kid team captain from where a youth serving organization. I'll show what that looks like here in a second. But each team had a team captain and a kid captain. And then we wanted to really integrate all of our messaging across multiple channels. Our online, our emails, our direct mail, our social media, everything that we were doing, that the message was united and aligned together in driving people back to where they could give to support the cause. We aligned our kids' stories, our kid captain stories, with segmented appeal. So we did a lot of segmentation of our lists Remember, we wanted to reactivate lapsed donors. We wanted to get new donors. We wanted to increase giving from individual donors. So we segmented our list into multiple different groups based off of some of those different groupings. And we and the teams that were assigned, and we aligned all of our stories with those different segmented groups. And we really wanted to create the mission moment in our messaging, and really around that 12 Days of Hope campaign on our social media channels. Okay, next slide. So when we structure our campaign, and we're starting to think about now, even as we're planning for 2023's end of year giving campaign, where does your campaign live? What does it say wherever anybody might see those messages, those different channels that I mentioned? There's a lot of different places where your campaign lives, and ways for people to be able to give through each of those channels. You have your appeal letters, right? Your direct mail, what's going to go in somebody's mailbox with an envelope that they return. There's still a group of donors that really like that. Your emails, your broadcast emails, your website, your web pages for different donations. We did our peer-to-peer fundraising campaign that I'll show here in a minute. We even have channels. Arreva has a great platform with the text to fund, where people can text in using a code and make a donation from their phone. Texting is becoming more and more of a trend right now of how people want to communicate, even over email, over social media. Texting seems to be where people who are already engaged with you want to continue to have those conversations. So being able to give them that vehicle in which they can give is really important as well. And of course, social media. Next slide. So our 12 Days of Hope campaign started, like I said, centered around our team captains and our kid captains. And we created some of those giving vehicles, like I mentioned, our direct mail pieces. This is an example of what that looked like. The messaging, hope is yours to give this season, with a quote from, this was Teen Bella. She's one of our youth that comes to our programs every single day at one of our sites. She shared some of her pictures and her stories. And we tried to incorporate those pieces into the direct mail campaign. Not only did this include, of course, that reply mechanism, but it also had the QR code that went directly to the landing page that had Bella's full story on it. And really trying to, again, give people multiple channels. There was an insert card. You can see here it's blank in a certain spot on the back. This is where we would have board members actually write a personal handwritten note to members of their contact list, their assigned contacts that they were the solicitor for. That personalized message from a board member that would get inserted into the letter and then mailed with that direct mail piece. Next. We did the 12 Days of Hope social media campaign. Again, we incorporated our team captains, our kid captains and their stories, but we had a different day. These are just a few examples of some. These were all social media, Facebook, Instagram, on many of our social media channels, on our website, in our emails that went out as well. Some just were just a picture, and some had a picture and then another image with a quote or something else that kind of went along with that. Next. We really wanted to, like I mentioned, one of our goals was that 100% board participation and engagement, which many of you mentioned in the poll is one of the areas that we're all, what keeps us up at night, right? Our board members are our most dedicated and passionate advocates. They're a board member usually because they love the cause more than anyone else, right? They're one of your best advocates, but sometimes they may not, but they're all afraid to ask. Right. I think everyone can relate with that. We have board members who love our campaign or love our mission. They will do anything, but when you ask them to ask for money, they all kind of freeze up and go, what? We wanted to give them a very easy way that they could ask their friends, their family, their colleagues, their neighbors, to be able to do that, and being able to use peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns actually gave them a sense of competition. Board members like to compete, especially mine. They really like those. If you can give them a point for anything, they love it. But to see how they're doing in relationship to their peers, it really drove their accountability to each other to show up for kids and do what their role as a board member to help us fundraise. So we divided our board member into these 5 teams. As you can see, and we had a landing page for each of those. We had a unique URL code, very easy to generate those using the peer-to-peer platform. Again, when you went to if you click on Team Victoria's page, here's her story, her picture. It had a little thermometer of how much that team had raised, and a very easy form for our donors to fill out, and it went and got credited to that team. So we really wanted to build that competitive spirit amongst our board members to help utilize it. And they found this very easy to use and to share. And I'll share with you in a minute an additional toolkit that we provided to them to make it even easier for them. But 100% of our board members were like, we love this. This was so great. It was fun to sit in committee meetings or board meetings and hear them call out from, hey, Team Victoria is ahead of Team Tanner. We're doing it. And they're like, Team Tanner is going to kick it this year. They were getting in that spirit and really encouraging each other to participate, which is always a good thing. Next. So this was, I mentioned the toolkit that we provided for our board members. I've given this in PDF form to Gabrielle. She's going to, I think, make that available to everybody who signed up. This is last year's toolkit, but we have done these for at least 3 or 4 of our campaigns in the last 2 years, whether it's for our gala or our golf tournament or our end of year giving, where we try and give the board members every single piece of information that they could want in an easy to digest format. So we just create this. It shows them what the campaign is going to look like, what our messaging is. It gives them some talking points. It gives them the timeline. It even gives them their hashtags, their unique URLs, some suggested social media posts that they can just copy and paste. It gives them an email template that they can share with their friends and their families from their email. It's one thing to create an email and send it to them and ask them to forward it on. But if they're generating out of their Outlook or their Gmail account or Yahoo or whatever it is, a personal email that's going directly from them to their friends and families and neighbors and whoever's in their contact list, it's going to have a higher open rate. It's going to mean more to the people who get it because, hey, Scott took the time to write this and I know Scott and he's my buddy and I golf with him. So what is he telling me? Oh, he's telling me about Team Bella. This is cool. Let me click and help support Scott and Bella and the kids, right? So we really tried to make it easy for them. And our board members really do appreciate this information because if they have any questions, they can go right back to it. If they don't know what to say, sometimes I think that's one of the biggest barriers for board members is they can share a story or they can tell why they love it, but they feel like they need more talking points because they maybe have that fear of asking. But it's like, here, let's just tell you some of the great things that your support does and makes possible in our programs and our services, and equip them with the knowledge that they need that they can then take it and run with it and do whatever they need to. So the toolkit has been maybe our biggest game changer for our board engagement, is giving them, literally at their fingertips, copy and paste tools that they can use in a very practical, easy thing. They don't have to go look for our website. They don't have to look for whatever hashtags we want. It's right there for them. Next slide. So our outcomes, what happened, right? Our goal was $100,000. We raised 120. We wanted 100% board engagement. We got it. We did acquire new donors. We did reactivate lapsed donors. Our average gift size actually increased as well. People were giving higher gift amounts. There were a lot of different metrics, but these were some of the things that we used to report back to our board. Hey, what you did mattered. Those board members who took the time to segment from their list, their people that they knew, we sent out about 1,000 pieces, a little under 1,000, and we segmented those, right? And we had certain ones that board members that had identified as their contacts. They had a personal relationship with this person. And so some board members may have had 20 people, some board members may have had 2 or 3 on the direct mail pieces. But the ones that actually had a handwritten signature on the back of their insert card sent to them actually gave at a higher response rate and gave at that higher average gift rate. And so we could tell them from data, hey, what you did, you took time to handwrite those notes on those cards. It paid off. It made a difference. And that encourages them. Now they're going, when are we going to get our cards this year? Can we get them earlier this year? When are our peer-to-peer pages going to be ready? I want to send them out earlier, and they're just ready for it now. And so I think that's one of the best things that came out of that, is being able to now they're not afraid. They may going on a face-to-face major gift ask is a whole nother webinar, but to share this on social media, to put it on their Facebook, to send an email, this was easy for them to do. It made a difference, and they're excited about it for this year, and they're really wanting to get it going. And we, even upped our timeline this year in response to that. Gabby, do we have any questions in the chat box?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Someone, when we were showing the poll, they said one of their biggest concerns is a aging donor database. Can you talk a little bit about how you reactivated your lapsed donors? Was it segmenting? What'd you guys do?
Absolutely segmentation, and personal relationships, right? So we were like, one, segmentation. We customized the direct mail piece. It didn't just say, dear friend, thanks for your gift, or will you give? It was, dear Joe and Cindy, thank you for your past support. We've missed you, right? So we customized, even just changing 1 or 2 sentences in each of the letters to let that person know we're talking directly to you, and not just this blasted, direct mail piece that we printed off the same letter to everybody. We actually had, I think, over 9 different segmentations, and we had 22 board members. So we had 22 different solicitor groups. So it's a lot of customization, right? So if they just attended a gala or a golf tournament, it was like, hey, we saw you at the gala and you heard, this is Yul TC on the screen right now, you heard Yul TC speak as our Youth of the Year and heard about the impact the club had on her life. Thank you for attending our gala. Would you consider giving again this year? So that customization, even if it's just changing, like I said, 1 or 2 sentences in the opening paragraph, makes a huge difference. And direct mail continues, I think, to be for that aging donor base, that they still like the email. Email is still good for even the older generations, and they like the something in my hand and an envelope I can put a stamp on and return to. So that cross media, across all channels kind of media message, right? As well as then, hey, this is a lapsed donor and they are a solicitor or contact with Scott on our board. If Scott's writing a message and then he follows up and he's saying, hey, Joe and Cindy, I really hope that you can support the kids this year. It would mean a lot to me. That personal relationship really helps in the reactivation of lapsed donors and with aging donors. Did I answer 2 questions in one?
I think you did. Yeah, that was a great answer. We're getting a lot of comments about how beautiful the campaign is, how many people love it. We have one question from Nina, and she wants to know, did you also share information so the donors could do a tax write-off?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. There's always on the footnote, if you will, or on the envelope, but so like your donation is deductible by the greatest extent of the law or whatever that legalese is. But that last year and the year before, there were some incentives from Congress, right, of being able to write off above the standard deduction line. And I forget the exact language now. I have too many thoughts in my head, but there was some specific tax benefits for donors that were eligible for smaller donations of 300 or less. And so we created a special email that went out that spoke directly to that as well. So that was part of our messaging in there. Absolutely. That's a great question. Anything else before we kick it over to Chris?
I do have one more question. Chris, you might be able to jump in on this. This is from Leslie, and she wants to know, how is the peer-to-peer developed? What program is used to track the teams? I love this idea.
We used Arreva.
Yeah, you could use Arreva, you could use our company to do it. There's many platforms out there. I think the benefit of Arreva is that it is fully integrated into the donor relationship management piece. So all those donations that are coming in through your peer-to-peer online giving are coming directly into the CRM solution as well. So it's makes your life much easier. But yeah, there are many solutions out there. There's a few other questions I saw in here too. One was about average response rate to direct mail. That's an interesting one.
I mean, I don't have that figure off the top of my head. I'd have to.
I know that it hovers around 5 to 10%, but I think for more targeted campaigns like this, it's higher, right, Amanda?
Yes. And I know we have that metric. We track it, right? Is this year's response higher than last year's? I didn't pull that going back historically, and I should have, but yeah, we did have a better response. But yes, I think if you are doing a list acquisition, I'm going to use a mail house and buy a bunch of zip codes, and we're just going to send in your return on investment and response rate. You're lucky if you get less than 1% on that. If you're doing a targeted, segmented list like this, you're going to get more like up in that 10 to 15% of your direct mail. And I think that's about where we hit. I think I want to say off the top of my head, I'm sure we had at least 12% from our direct mail. We know we also get gifts online. Sometimes it's like, oh yes, they got an email and they got the direct mail, but they gave online using this time. Maybe they didn't use the exact QR code or the exact landing page, but they still ended up on our main giving page. But you can kind of cross-reference when you've segmented out, right? And you go, ooh, whose list are they on? Oh, they were actually on this board member's list, and he did send his stuff out, and then they did give. We're going to credit that anyway. And we went in on the back end of the peer-to-peer, and I keep using Scott as an example, but going, hey, Scott, so-and-so from your contact list made a gift. He could then thank them immediately, and then we gave them credit on the back end to that team page as well. But yeah, you can track it from a lot of different ways. Segmenting your list really helps you kind of target in and go, ooh, how did they hear this message and where did they come from? Even if they ended up on just our generic giving page. Yeah.
And Amanda, another question came in. How many emails did you send over those 12 days?
Not as many as you would think. So I usually structure my end of year campaigns with a hard email ask. Well, actually, I back that up. I start with thank you and stewardship. We do thank you calls and we do a thank you email right before day of giving, or excuse me, day of giving and Thanksgiving, right? We don't do a big, huge, at my organization, we don't do a big drive to raise money on that, Giving Tuesday day. We use it as a day of thanks and stewardship. And then we thank first, and then we follow it up probably about a week later, that last week of Thanksgiving, right before Christmas, with the hard ask of, will you give to this campaign? And it's the same message that's in the direct mail piece. So they've gotten a thank you, they get a letter in the mail, then they send an email. So now they've gotten 2 emails. They got a thank you, the hard ask, first ask email. Then they get a soft touch email that's a soft ask, just a happy holidays from the kids, or here's a 12-day of giving hope. message or something like that. Here's what your gift will do or can do, but there's always a giving link or a give now link, but the ask is a soft ask. It's more of a touch point. And then we'll follow up with a third hard ask email. So now that's 4, because they got a thank you, hard ask, soft ask, hard ask. I forget that there's all this intentionality behind it. And I was like, oh, I could have actually done a whole webinar on just this. And then we'll do just a weekly email after that until we get to the final countdown, which is that after Christmas, before December 31st, and deadline of your tax donation. And while research shows that most donors, while the tax gift is not like their main motivation for giving, it's still a motivation for giving, but most people still feel that urgency to give before the end of December 31st. So then we send actually 3 emails out on that last week. Like it's don't forget to give, it's not too late to give, and the last minute, like last chance, get in, our days of hope is ending now. Those kind of things. The 12 days of hope social media campaign was days 1 through 12 in the middle of December, and it was all social media. And then we incorporated some of that same messaging into those weekly emails. Hope that makes sense. I lost count. 7. I know it feels like a lot, and people are like, oh, it's a lot, it's too much. But honestly, during a campaign like that, it's not. In fact, you have to see things 7 times before you act. Right?
Amanda, we have another question. This is about your board. Bailey wants to know, did you just provide a massive list of donors to the board for them to review to then claim who is their person/contact?
Kind of yes and no. So we pull our list out of Arreva. We use Arreva as our donor management, and we pull it by people who've given in the last 3 years. We've marked in Arreva if they are related to or have been previously identified by one of our board members, right? So we can assign a relationship in there. So we can pull that out, whether they've come to a gala with them or to a golf tournament, or they just volunteered with this person, or they've given us their names before in previous campaigns. We assign that to them. So we pull that list based out of people who have attended an event and or given in the last 3 years, and that comes out to a list of about 900 or so. And then we sort it and segment it for them and go, here's everybody who's assigned a relationship for Scott. Here's everybody who's assigned a relationship for Alicia. These are my real board members. And we give them their full list. And so we ask them to review that for accuracy. Did somebody's name change? Did their address change? And then to look at the rest of the list and see if there's names on there that they recognize. Then we also ask them to give us new names as well. And so they have that. We're sending that out right now for them to review so that they can get their cards in November. So we can prepare them for them to start signing. So yeah, we do give them the list, and then we ask them to provide back information and new prospects as well for the direct mail. And we track that in Arreva. That might be a great segue into what you're talking about, Chris.
Nice. This is a nice segue. Someone's got another question. Is that relevant to Amanda's? Let's see.
This question is about sponsorships. They're asking if the same logic applies for sponsorships. If not, do you have any suggestions?
We could do a whole nother webinar on sponsorships. I say yes, because all fundraising is relationships, right? And people who make decisions on sponsorships are people. However, so yes, you can apply that same. And we do want to track, which board members are assigned, are affiliated with which organizations and corporations and businesses and things. And then we're using them to create that first entry point into sponsorships. What we have found with sponsorships is you need to get the ask in early and like all up front. We just created a sponsorship brochure for all of our 2024 events. We're not going to do a gala and then a golf and then a thing and then ask them again for our end of year or Day for Kids or other events. we're like, here's all your sponsorship opportunities this year, and let's build a custom sponsorship package for you. But yes, we track those previous sponsors, we ask our board members for new prospects of sponsors as well. But yeah, so I think all fundraising principles for individuals can be applied in that relationship building for sponsorships, but also get your sponsorship asks in now, because most corporations are building their budget for 2024, and you don't want to get in March and they go, well, we already made those decisions in November and December. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Amanda's so generous in sharing all this with everybody, and please make sure we'll send you a link to download her toolkit, which is amazing. So thanks for sharing all that, Amanda. All right. My name is Chris Fink. I am COO of Arreva. I want to just talk a little bit here about using technology to manage your campaigns and execute your campaigns. This slide here is about identifying, reaching your prospects and donors for your campaigns, but I'm going to step back a little bit and get my soapbox and just talk about leveraging your data, because Amanda was talking quite a bit about that. How do you identify who to ask and what to ask? And you're going to rely a lot. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of data in people's heads that you're going to rely on. Although hopefully you're going to get a lot of that data that's in people's heads and into a solution that you're using to manage your donors. But really, to leverage that data, you're going to be able to rely on that data, which means you need quality data to rely on to really identify who to ask and how much to ask. So I am going to preach a little bit about maintaining quality data. I work a lot on the client success side, helping people execute campaigns, do fundraising, and one of the biggest problems I see is there's either too much of that data is in people's heads, or that data is not consistently managed and entered within their solutions they're using to manage their donors. So it's really hard to know who to ask and how much to ask when you don't have quality data. So I'm gonna, like I say, preach a little bit about if you don't have a procedures manual, make one. So that data is going in a quality way, like say garbage in, garbage out, right? So make sure you've got good data to rely on in that solution that you're using. And hopefully you do have a solution that you're using that is like Arreva's, in that you can manage all of your constituents in one place, right? And all the data that's coming in from online, whether it's standard donations, recurring donations, whether it's pages you set up to bring in money for your campaign, peer-to-peer pages, team fundraising, pledges, payments, all that should be hopefully coming directly into your solution and requiring very little from you in terms of management. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now and just talk a little bit about identifying your prospects and who you should be asking for and how much. Researching, defining your target audience, right, is obviously relying on that information you have about your donors to identify who your ideal potential donors are. That could be just based on past giving, could be on how much they've given, when they've given. Could also be relationships you've had with through staff or through committee members, board members that they have with other potential donors out there that may have an affinity to your organization and give. So understanding those relationships, tracking those, but I'll talk a little bit more about identifying who and how much to ask on the next slide. Data analysis and segmentation. Segmenting prospective donors based on key criteria can really help you just craft more targeted, effective outreach and strategy, like Amanda was talking about. Really trying to tie the benefit of that donation, the impact that's going to have, and identifying what affinities people have towards your organization, why. That could be based on I don't know, are they a volunteer, what have they given to you in the past, and why. Having that information can help you craft really targeted, whether it's direct mail campaigns, email campaigns. We have people setting up separate campaign donation pages based on affinities with your organization and interests to really speak to them. You can do that as well. But I will also talk a little bit about prospect research and helping you with that too. But anytime you segment your supporters or potential supporters, it's opening that door really, right, for that deeper personalization, the increased emotional connection that you can have with them. And like Amanda just said, it's about those relationships, and that's going to compel them to give. And that segmentation is really going to be key to what type of ask you're going to make. Like Amanda was saying, she's not she's not leaving money on the table by sending a generic $20 appeal letter ask to someone who's potentially could give her $10,000. We that actually happened to
I'm going
one of
to
our.
them face to face.
Yes, yes, personalized asks. Yes.
Correct.
I was just about to tell the story. We have one of our founders of our company got a generic appeal letter, and she's like, they're asking me for $20 through a mailer when I would have given them $10,000, if they had actually just asked. You don't want to leave that money on the table. So really understanding your audience, who your potential donors are, and how much they can give is so important, and making sure that ask is appropriate for that, right? And I'll talk about how some of those segments, but I mean, really, what's their capacity to give, relationship with staff, board, other donors, what's their affinity for your cause, philanthropic indicators like board membership with other companies out there, what's their volunteer history, all those things can really help you identify, how and what to ask for. But creating compelling targeted marketing campaigns, that resonate, developing, compelling content, right, to communicate with your mission and impact. I mean, Amanda has an amazing impact statement and infographic on her website that is just, it's really well done. Amanda, you did a great job on that. It tying, their donations to that impact and explaining the impact that they're having is super important. So if you haven't created an impact statement, you might want to just check out Amanda's. It's great, and it really helps people understand that what their donations impact is going to be. And like I said, just don't know your target audience, don't send that generic appeal, right? Like I was mentioning earlier. Digital marketing channels, Amanda already mentioned, giving vehicles and having, don't just have one. It's not just about direct mail. It's not just about email marketing. It's about using many different ways to get your message out to people, because depending on the demographic, their age, they're using it, they may want to interact with you in different ways. So leveraging those social media platforms like Amanda mentioned earlier, having email marketing that's also supporting potentially a direct mail campaign, even online advertising, that setting up those peer-to-peer campaigns, all those ways that you can leverage to get that word out to support your campaign. And then collaborating with partners, influencers, those board member connections are really important as well. All right, so if we go to the next slide, I'll just talk real quick about prospect identification and leveraging prospect research. Amanda touched on this a little bit, identifying lapsed donors, current donors, new donors. How do you even know who those are? And making sure you have a solution that's going to help you identify who they are. People who have never given but have a potential for giving are potentially sitting in that database, and having that data there and available, and having reporting and a solution that's going to allow you to easily pull those out and identify those so that you can make the right asks, right? So typically, you're qualifying their giving levels, meaning what their capacity to give is based on several different factors, and the most common are recency, frequency, and monetary. So how often have they given to you in the past? Never, once, twice, three times. And then what's the frequency? Are they giving once a year? Are they giving 3 times a year? Have they only given to you once? So having that data available and reporting that's able to pull that information out for you. And then what's the size of their donations? How much are they giving you, right? Now, I do have another story in terms of there are people who could be giving you $10 a year, but have a capacity to give you much more. And that's where that prospect research comes in. There's companies out there, like we've partnered with Donor Search and Wealth Engine. And I think Amanda using another one called iWave, but you can supplement the data that you have on your donors with external data from other partners that we have out there, and partnerships with a company like Donor Search. Donor Search has not only demographic data, financial data on everybody in the U.S., but they also are compiling their own database of what people have given to other organizations out there. They get it through various means. They scan, annual reports. It's interesting how they get this information, but they can unearth, potential major donors for you that are sitting in your database. You don't even know it, right? We had a humane society here in the Bay Area in California, where I'm at, who had this woman who was, giving him $10 a year, and eventually ended up giving him a huge donation, millions of dollars. But they were helped through understanding what that woman's net worth was and what her potential for giving was. So supplementing the data that you have with some external data sources like a prospect research firm can be super helpful, and integrating that data into your donor relationship management piece so that you can now filter, segment, report, identify people based on not only the giving to your organization, but potentially to others, and identifying in more detail their real capacity to give, and what's their propensity to give to your organization is huge. So anyway, all right, next slide. Building and managing your campaigns. Hopefully you all have a solution that's doing this for you already. Arreva does have the ability to do all the things we're talking about here, which is, and Amanda alluded to a lot of these things too, right? What is, have an overall goal for your campaign, not only for the campaign itself, but also then identifying who your solicitors are going to be, who's going to go out and ask for money for those people that you want to do personal asks for. You could have individual solicitors, you have teams of solicitors. They could be anybody. It could be staff, volunteers, board members, etc. And they can also have their own goals too, right? And you're identifying what those donor cultivation steps are in your solution, hopefully, and you're assisting your board members, whoever it is, your solicitors, to walk those prospects through those donor cultivation stages, right? And we have a set of standard donor cultivation stages, but you can identify your own as well, man, and define your own. Also, gift range charts, identifying how many prospects you need to identify with each one of your giving levels, and then what percentage of those will actually give to really back out how many prospects you need to find with each one of those giving levels to then meet your goal, right? It's not an exact science, but does help you at least understand that I need to get so many donors with each one of these giving levels that's going to give a certain amount to then get to my goal. It doesn't always exactly work that way, but it really helps you back out the number of prospects you're going to need to find to be really to make your goals. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, I wanted to jump on that really quickly and just add some comments because one, I also think this gifts calculator or this gift range chart you can have in Exceed Further, but I've done it in Excel for years of trying to figure out, and to tie back to the question earlier about principles to sponsorships. I really utilize this for my event sponsorships of if I have, a $300,000 goal for an event, how many sponsors do I need at the title, presenting, gold, silver level, gold, silver, bronze, all the way down to get it. And you use that kind of 80-20 rule, the upside down inverted pyramid that most fundraisers can quote in their sleep, right? That 80% of your gifts are going to come from 20% of your donors. And so you can go, well, my top range, maybe I need 1 or 2 gifts at this level. So then you need 3 prospects for every 1 gift that you get. So then you can go, do I have enough prospects to make that gift there, right? To make that goal. Is this achievable? And if not, then I need to work on my pipeline to build prospects back up. So really going that 3-to-1 rule as well as the 80-20 rule, is really helpful in building your goals and knowing if that goal is even achievable. And Exceed Further has some of those tools built in that I've been doing in spreadsheets since 1999.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Amanda. And then RFM analysis, I talked about that, segmenting, understanding and leveraging your relationships. Are you tracking relationships? Again, a lot of that tends to be in people's heads, and that's okay. But you having a solution that allows you to manage relationships and understanding what those relationships are, so it isn't just in one person's head. All right, next slide, Gabby. All right, optimizing giving with branded online donation pages. Yeah, so I know that with Arreva, and I'm sure other solutions out there too as well, we allow you to have unlimited donation pages, and we have clients that have many different pages depending on who they're targeting. Some just have one page and allow you to support multiple programs within an organization on one page by selection. Some people have a tiled donation page that says, hey, if you give us this much, it's going to support this. You give us this much, it's going to support that. So there's many different ways to provide opportunities for people to support your organization, but also convey the impact they're going to have based on how much they're giving and what specifically they're supporting. So instead of sending people to a generic giving page to support a specific campaign, you could set up a branded, campaign page that really speaks to the segments that you're trying to target, right? You could even set up separate pages for each one of those targets to really convey and message to them what the benefit of that donation is going to have, but also having a solution in place that does allow and has the flexibility to maybe turn those one-time donors into sustaining donors by having a recurring giving option on that page, right? And maybe they want to support you but they want to give you a memorial gift. Having that ability to turn that one gift into a memorial gift and enter the information and having a solution on the back end that helps you easily manage those memorial and honor gifts, those tribute donations is key as well. And again, having the ability to increase their donation through matching, right? We have a partnership, for example, with a company called Double Donation, where you can put on your donation form a simple box where they can just type in their company name and it does a quick search to see if their company has a matching gift program, so they can then match that gift. Right. So and then having the ability to cover those processing fees, so those processing fees you're paying for merchant fees, you can very easily have a box on the Arreva page at the bottom that you can have it checked by default if you want. You don't have to, and you can basically let them check it and it covers the fees. So really you're using the platform for free. We we actually have one client who has their processing fee option checked by default and you can't uncheck it. I don't necessarily recommend that, but I've seen it done. But we do find over 80% of donors will check it anyway. So it's a great option to have if you don't have that already. All right, next slide. Peer-to-peer, Amanda already talked much better than I could about the benefits of peer-to-peer, but if you don't have a peer-to-peer solution in place, I highly recommend it. It really does. I think, and Amanda, you could speak to this. Where I see the benefits of peer-to-peer with campaigns is it really helps. I know sometimes there's people that are really hesitant to go out and personally ask for money. This really gives you a vehicle to ask them in a way that's a little less threatening, a little less intimidating, right? You can create your own personal fundraising page to support an organization, and then you can invite people through social media or email, whatever, to come and give to your personal web page. So it really has that viral effect, but it's again, I think it's a little less intimidating than asking people to go out and ask personally for money.
Yep.
But,
and I forgot to even mention this when we did ours, especially with our board members. Now, we had 22 board members at the time. We put their peer-to-peer page for them.
Oh, wow.
We right on our back end. Now, granted, not everybody might have that capacity to do it, but we wanted to make it really easy so they had no excuse of not creating their own page and setting it out and sending it out. Right. So we went in and once you set up one page, it's really easy to you've got the template, right? So yeah. We used we told them we were doing it. We're like, we're going to do it for you. And then now they're more comfortable with the platform. I don't think we'll have to do that for as many of them this year that they're ready and ready to do that. Just a few of our new board members, but it does take that fear away, right? You're seeing more and more of the Facebook birthday fundraiser things, right? People are used to seeing that and accustomed to seeing that more. This gives them that really easy platform. But we did go ahead and invest the work from our team on the back end to set up those 22 pages for our board members individually.
I like it.
But then they had no excuse that it was like, here, click your link and share it. Here's your URL. Just share this on your Facebook page. And they're like, oh, okay.
Do you find the competition to help too between the board members?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't like my board member. I love them, but if you give them anything and all you have to offer is bragging rights, And they will do anything for bragging rights. But it did help. We do that with even their board commitments. And across that, we've incorporated our team point system into it. We've got our board development committee are the team captains, and they encourage, make sure you're coming to your board meetings. It's that peer-to-peer accountability. But they do like making sure that the most competitive people are on opposite teams is really important too. Because they'll call each other out. But yes, it did help. We added a nice, like, at the end of the year, here's a little certificate for your team and some box of chocolates and a swag with our logo kind of item for the winning team. But they weren't doing it for that. Mostly it's in good fun, and what they loved is having that story of a kid that they could share, and really made it personal and tied back to the mission. We even made them buttons that said, like, ask me about Bella, that they could wear around town to the grocery store.
Oh, wow.
That kind of stuff. So I think they liked that mission story more than even the points, but they'll do anything for a point in bragging, right?
Someone just asked a question. I think you just answered it, though. I was asking you, Amanda, to speak more about your campaign and what they did in relation to the peer-to-peer fundraising, but you just actually said quite a bit. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but.
So they signed direct mail cards, right? So we segmented their list, gave them, here's your list, asked them for new mails, or new prospects, and addresses for the direct mail campaign. They signed the personal cards. We asked them then we created their peer-to-peer page for them and added them into their 5 teams. And then we asked them to share that on social media. So they did. We gave them an email template that they could copy and paste into their Outlook and then send from their email to not just the names that they gave us for our direct mail piece, but to anyone and everybody that's in their contact. And so they would do that. We'd have the team captains, and even the kid captains would go. We'd record a little video of our kid, Team Bella. Bella would say, don't forget to, send your thank you emails, or to send your email, a little message that we just send to that team in text or via email, just encouraging them for participation. And they love that connection, again, back to their team captain. But really it was just, again, giving them the tools of doing what they should already be doing, which is advocating for your mission and your cause. But we just asked them to share it on Facebook and Instagram and wherever they were, to email their people and to follow up. We go, here's the people on your list who we've not heard from yet, right? And so can you call them, right? Can you send them a direct email instead of a blast email, but follow up with your person. And again, the team captains were, that peer-to-peer accountability from board member to board member is key. That they'll do stuff when I ask them to do it, but if one of their fellow board members is asking them, or if a kid is asking them to do something, they're doing it, right? They're going to do it. But yeah.
Awesome. All right. Okay. And what's the next slide, Gabby? Texting. It's I think the stats lately are what, 95% of texts are read, so much higher than email. So if you don't have texting integrated into your solution, you might want to think about that. You can send out text to people, whether it's to support a campaign, whether it's a fundraiser. Sometimes it's on the program side. We have clients using it for that too, interacting with staff, whoever. So you do have the ability to text with an Arreva, but it is another way, another giving vehicle that you can use. All right. Next slide, Gabby. We're kind of on the end. I'm just going to go real quick plug for Arreva. I know one of the biggest challenges we have from clients coming to us looking at our solution is they've got, I think on average 4 different solutions that they're using to manage their donors and get donations, and we eliminate those silos for them, and it really helps them be more efficient and do more. And right now, overall donations are down. And in general, for all organizations, so you have to be more efficient. You have to give people more ways of donating. You have to be as efficient as your time as possible, and having an fully integrated solution will help you do that. And then on the next slide, you can just get a sense for all the different things that Arreva does and how they are all integrated into one solution, whether that's online donations, peer-to-peer, etc., auctions. We do it all. So if you, on the next slide, as Gabby is showing you, please let us know if you'd like to see more about Arreva, and we will set up a demo for you. I cannot thank Amanda enough for being so generous with her time today. She's an amazing client, amazing person, an amazing fundraiser. So thanks, Amanda, for being here today with us.
It's my privilege and my honor. I love working with Arreva. I really believe that you guys are committed to, you know, being good partners on all sides. And so I just can't say enough good about you guys. You guys really work hard to make sure that we have the tools that we need to raise the funds to support our cause. So we appreciate your partnership. Thank you for including me.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amanda and Chris. This was so informative. This was a great session. Thank you both. You will be receiving a copy of the webinar recording, the webinar deck, and then Amanda has generously offered a downloadable of her board member toolkit, so you can utilize that as well. Make sure you schedule a demo and consultation with us if you want to learn about any more about campaign management, peer-to-peer fundraising, texting, anything you saw today. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks again, Amanda. Thanks, Gabby.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This was awesome.
It always comes together, right, Chris?
Well, because of you, yes. Thanks,
No.
Amanda.
You guys do great work, and I'm happy to share what we do, and we can continue on our path to doing it even better. So, yeah.
Well, thanks, Amanda.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to drop out now.
Yeah, please. Okay.
Let me know if there's any questions or follow-ups, or if anybody needs anything else. I'm happy to share.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks,
Thanks,
Gabby.
Elaine.